What up? We're three cool guys looking for other cool guys and girls who want to hang out in the inventory. Nothing sexual. Dudes in good shape encouraged. If you're fat, you should be able to find humor in the little things. And again, nothing sexual. Except, of course, for the strip poker, because this is the Strip Poker Night at the Inventory podcast, episode 69.3. That's right.
It's always sunny in the inventory.
Episode 71. 71 episodes. Hopefully that didn't sound too gay at the beginning. We're just trying to find new friends. It's tough to find friends at our age. But yeah. We're returning with I'm your host, SPNanon, with my co-host, recently revived nmasp, who is hiding out from the federal government in a hotel, unspecified location.
It's Texas, but
under an alias.
You see, I'm telling the feds the opposite of what's true.
With our returning esteemed guest for this evening, Horsecat, one of the best artists this game has to offer. And we're not just talking about Kisekae, but just in general.
Thanks. I like being here. And I love the game. And that's why I've been here for all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to contribute.
A true player loves the game.
And he's got another new character under his belt that we will give him some time to talk about today on this episode of the podcast. We have we don't have any just side content to talk about right now. We could talk about Kisekae improvements. Maybe you can say a little bit about that, Horsecat, about what's going on with some of the big code changes that we're having with Kisekae. But in general, we have some more art updates to talk about and a couple of testing roster characters. But otherwise, we are pretty much caught up at the time of recording. We're pretty close to it anyway. So we're going to get into that probably in the future when Kisekae updates slow down a little bit. We'll talk about it more in depth. But Horsecat, since I think you have engaged with them the most at the moment, are there any impressions you have of what's possible now?
I really wish all of these upgrades could have come a couple of months earlier when I was redoing Ringo and when I was starting to do Arle, because in a specific that arm thing that we have now, where you can actually change the size of the arms individually now, it would have saved me a lot of trouble. For both Ringo and Arle's normal model, she's made of two different models that I have to combine because one is just the arms and the other one is the rest of the body. With this now, I can just use one model, and that's what I did for the alternate custom that she has right now, the classic Arle custom. It saves a ton of time and a ton of effort. Plus a lot of other neat tricks that you can do now with the legs and stuff.
That is a bridge I have yet to cross. I have maxed out all my ribbons and hair pieces and belts and things, but I have not used two different models.
Oh, do not worry, because if I remember correctly, one of the new updates as well is to have 999 ribbons. So.
Oh my god!
Yeah, a lot of more space for that kind of stuff. Oh, and custom eyes as well with face marks.
Yeah, that would have been nice. A lot of my posing work is manually moving the 20 relevant face marks for Maya and Jura's eyes.
That is going to be also a lifesaver for when I go back to actually finishing the reworks for Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash to be able to pair with the modern MLP standard models.
It's kind of annoying in a way when you've done all this posing work and then you're like, oh yeah, that would have been really helpful. And the best you can do is maybe future-proof it. You have to go back and change how you built the model, even though it's good in the long run. I've decided not to touch any of it now. I'm in the middle of reposing the new Maya Jura models just because I just need to get this done. I'll fuck around with this new stuff later. But yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it is indeed annoying when you do have upgrades like that in the middle of it, but once you work with them and realize, oh yeah, this is way better, then yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. I think it's gonna be worth it, even if I have my pink pin.
Technology is always improving, and you just have to kind of pull the trigger at some point. You can't just wait around forever for your life to get easier. You just kind of have to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, I almost had a Pinkie Pie remodel complete. I was just missing the Pinkamina stuff, but I'm throwing away that because the new stuff is just going to make it a lot easier to get exactly what I want. And it's really, really good. And holy shit, that's all I can say.
Yeah, Viz is just popping off.
Indeed.
I'm going to need to like when we get a couple more stable releases in the game files. I'm gonna have to actually like write down a complete list of everything that's changed from a couple months ago because it's just insane how quickly he's gone through these. Just like everything you could possibly put on a wish list. He just like suddenly unlocked like Ultra Instinct Kisekae.
And the craziest thing is that he did all that in like the span of like a week or two as well.
He just woke up one month and is just like, I'm just gonna make this perfect.
Welcome to the life cycle of Viz. He's like the cicada. 7 years of dormancy and then extreme productivity until his genitals explode.
He's pretty much going to rebuild Kisekae from the ground up, just because.
Just because.
I don't want to denigrate a lot of the other like good coding work that people have done, like Reform Copyright and like Cobrad and Nord have done a lot of good stuff with the character editor, and obviously SPNatI Edit, who originally made a lot of the features. But just like, damn, dude, like without Viz, and so much of this game's infrastructure would just be us banging rocks together still.
I feel like once people get used to this, we're going to see another jump in quality in the models. Like we already have really good stuff, but it is the time for fully custom faces now, I believe, and fully custom legs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be another one of those jumps where you can say, "Oh yeah, this was before this became available." I really believe the potential is there.
God, I hope I'm approaching the point where not too much has to be revamped.
Your new Mei and your new Yura look amazing already, even without that. So you don't have to worry about that.
I'll just use those new ribbon slots to add a bunch of extra wrinkles and things. Anyway, speaking of all the new possibilities in art, I mean, you can see it paying dividends already. We have 3 new art updates to talk about on this episode. We talked about 9S last time. He had a big update, and a couple other ones like Fischl and things who are more just like testing table returns. But we have a Ribbon Girl lined up first. Horsecat, you haven't been on the podcast before, so you haven't been able to give your thoughts on these characters. So we'll let you talk a little bit longer. nmasp and I are going to be pretty quick about it. But Ribbon Girl, for starters, got a model update. What did you think of that?
Well, I think that while the base model is not changed that much, the proportions did get changed, and I do like that because a lot of the older Kisekae models have really short legs and really long torsos, which I believe you guys touched up in the last episode as well. On the previous 2, sorry, on the good old 69. But the proportion tweaks make a huge difference when she's in the later stages of the game. She looks way more appealing now. And also her arms actually looks like the arms from her game, ARMS. As for the character itself, yeah, I have not played ARMS, but I can tell that she's a girl that does fights with her arms. That's it.
In the game ARMS.
In the game ARMS. With arms. Which you play with your arms. Well, hands, but still.
Hands and arms and hands and arms.
Heads, shoulders, knees, and toes.
And toes. Arms and arms and arms and arms and ass and titties and ass and titties. Ribbon Girl's great.
My neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack.
What the fuck? No, I think I think she's I really like the proportion changes. I've always thought Ribbon Girl was pretty cute. And I think this just makes it easier to really like immerse herself. Her dialogue's good, and the art update makes her even more enjoyable. So great job, BK. Good stuff.
I've always felt bad for him picking this character because it's probably just his personal favorite ARMS character, but just to miss out on like the fan favorite in Twintel with the huge ass, and then also this eventual Smash pick in Min Min, just 2 strikes, and you're out.
Yeah, didn't she get added like Min Min got added like a month after Ribbon
Almost
game?
immediately before. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
bad timing, but she's still nice. Even if she's not the Smash girl, I want to Smash.
Yeah, this is an undeniable improvement. Just little changes go a long way, which is going to be a recurring theme. Yeah, but I guess I should say you can massively improve a character's appeal with just a few extra details or some proportion changes. So moving on, we have our second art update on the day, and not just an art update, but just like a general revival, a testing return. So Yuna Toomey from I think it's Kindred Spirits on the Roof, which is like a Yuri-based visual novel. It's like haunted by 2 Yuri ghosts who encourage her to munch carpet.
So the pun here is really good in Japanese because like Yuri is for lesbian shit, but Yurei is for ghosts. So it's literally like Yurei. Yeah. Anyway,
you would think this would be the girl from Yuri or something, but no, that's Kyoko.
Kindred Spirits on the Roof.
Kindred Spirits on the Roof. It's the 2 sapphic spirits alongside her, with just straying her from the path of God towards the devil's lettuce.
What is your shaman power, Yunatume? I summoned 2 lesbian ghosts. Anyway.
So this was originally made by Packer Dragon, I think, but Alias has taken over the project. Unfortunately, she's fallen off testing again because he just wanted to focus on some other projects, like Steve from Stranger Things, because Alias has a lot of projects. But he has promised to get back to her pretty soon, and you know, I trust his word. And in the meantime, the art in general has been a massive improvement. But this is like a master class in like clothes shading and like folds and wrinkles and things, and like pleating on the skirt.
It's pretty bananas.
Yeah,
The most realistic folds you'll see in SPNatI. Yeah, I did not get to play Yuna during her original incarnation. That was kind of like in the time where I was taking like a little bit of a break from doing SPNatI stuff. So my memories with the original model are not great. I do believe that the falls that the new models have are really good. It really, again, another thing that you'll be hard to believe it's from Kisekae. So really good job in that. And it's 3 lesbian ghosts that are pretty cute.
Yeah, I think, I definitely think the art update's super good. Not really much to add. I think like when Alias gets back to expanding her dialogue, that'll be good. I think Yuna had a good core. Good to see more of her.
it's very source accurate.
Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty nuts like how good this is.
You can see all the shading on the models here. I always really liked Yuna. For one thing, she's trying to like create a Eurytopia, just like girls' love can persist in all perpetuity and take over the world. I just thought like every neuron activated for me, because this is just like Maya is literally from a Eurytopia, even though it's not quite a utopia. It's just like all her dreams realized. There are no men to be found. So always happy to write more targets about that.
No guys, no guys, only ghosts.
No guys, only ghosts. And yeah, I've always really struggled with like how to like make clothing in Kisekae, especially like long flowy clothing. It's difficult for me to wrap my head around like where exactly to shade and put the lines. I didn't do a great job with Jura's dress, even on the new model. I think it's serviceable for now, but it's like hard to pose. I got to readjust all the ribbons. I'm not sure how posable these are. Maybe they're image attachments. But yeah, that's a pain. It's probably probably what I'm least happy about so far in the current art revamp endeavor. But this is just an excellent job. And just in general, the whole thing looks a lot like like more cleaned up and detailed. And when he does come back to Yuna, I'm very excited to target him some more, or target her some more.
Cool.
Any thoughts?
No, good stuff.
Well, speaking of Alias, he has been on a tear as well. First Viz and now Alias popping off because a character that I legit didn't even think like looked all that bad. Of course, I'm no expert, but
she looked good, and here
It's
we
like
are.
the third version, I believe.
when I heard that he was working on revamping Cagliostro's art from Grand Blue Fantasy, my first thought was like, okay, first of all, she's pretty recent addition, and second, isn't her art pretty good already? And it was, and then he came out with this new model and put them next to each other, and I'm like, damn, this is a big improvement.
It's like the third time I get that model gets remodeled. But yeah, she came looking pretty good. Then the second one was an improvement, and then the third one that hair looks straight out of the game. It looks really good, really amazing. And of course, the clothes as well got another improvement. I believe the skirt is the most noticeable thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously a big Cagliostro fan. I think she's always really good before. The upgrades to her are phenomenally good. You know, keep going, Alias. Like, whatever tear you're on, keep doing it. It's good shit.
Yeah, I said before, just like you don't even realize how much of an improvement it is sometimes until you put them next to each other, and then it's like, damn. I mean, the artist knows because they do nothing but stare at them all day. But yeah, you really gotta. It's hard to appreciate sometimes.
Yeah,
this is quite the glow. I mean, even something as simple as like the little cross-looking shield things, like little adornments on her connecting her skirt and her vest, like they look 3D now. Like he added a side to them that wasn't there before.
I believe also the details on the gloves as well are new as well now.
Yeah,
like custom glove stuff.
You didn't even think about that, but he did it. And of course, like the hair is a more appropriate color, and the bangs match better. Just overall, really nice job. And you can tell he just loves the heck out of this girl. And I'm hoping to do some fun, neat custom interactions with her soon. Stay tuned.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
very excited.
What about
With Jura or Maya?
Both.
Ooh, good stuff.
But yeah, we'll get there because she has some interesting applications of her alchemy. And it gives me a chance to flex some artistic skills that I wouldn't use otherwise.
Tidium, if you would.
Now,
okay.
I think it's about time to move on to actual full-on new characters. Imagine that.
You know what else it's time for? It's time to duel.
It's tea time. Except it doesn't quite work because
mine was better.
Because her name is doesn't quite work because her name is Taya, also known as Anzu Mazaki.
She's fucking from Yu-Gi-Oh! Where else am I going to use that? When someone drops Yugi fucking Moto into this game, also please do that. That would be hilarious. Well, Yuna already exists.
You did use it. I let you use it.
Yeah, okay.
This is a weird character to talk about, first of all, because he can't... This is the second effort. This is by Chie's writer from Persona 4, I believe. Ace.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Taya Gardner / Anzu Mazaki, and that's sort of the first weird thing about her is that you can't really decide whether he wants to go with the dub name, I guess, or the Japanese name. But she's from the original series of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I got to be honest, I'm only familiar with passingly because of the abridged series. Yu-Gi-Oh! is never really something that's interested me personally. I had some cards back in the day, but I didn't know how to play it. I don't think anybody did. We just liked looking at the artwork.
I have a similar thing. I am really familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! I do like Yu-Gi-Oh! And I play a lot of Duel Links and stuff even recently. But since I lived in Mexico since I was little, I was used to the Spanish dub. So my only reference for her English voice is the abridged series. So I always imagine her sounding like this voice. So I know that's not her real voice, but
that's actually not far off, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, like the English dub is very similar to that.
I cannot actually picture that being sounding seriously. I guess I'm just too used to
I also-
the average dialogue.
It's also plausible that I'm just substituting in the dub voice, or like, sorry, the abridged voice, which is definitely not the same thing. But anyway,
I don't personally know a lot about this character. I assume she's just kind of like the typical shonen girl. She's the token girl of the party.
Her thing is like she's just like the friendship game. Oh, like, oh yeah, we're going to get over this with the power of friendship and stuff and stuff because it's
Yeah,
anime.
the Sakura, like she doesn't fight too much.
she's like, if I remember, she's like a pretty competent player, but she's definitely not like as
Here's
good.
she barely duels in the series, but I believe she hasn't lost a single duel during her entire run.
Oh,
So,
damn.
It's good strategy.
Yeah.
Can't lose if you never play.
I think she did lose once during like a filler arc, but that was not supposed to be canon, so I think she's unbeaten.
Oh, cool.
Which is more to say about every other single Yu-Gi-Oh female out there that usually gets trashed pretty badly.
For my Valentine.
They have a really bad record with the female duelists out there.
Don't ask me to summarize the plot or name any characters. I did. So like My Valentine and Bandit Keith and Bakura, also known as Melvin.
Why is he British? Who knows?
Seto Kaiba, he's the coolest one.
Yeah,
I know
Again,
that.
another thing
With Mokuba.
Another thing with the culture clash is that on the Spanish stuff, of course, you don't have Bakura being British and Joey having this Brooklyn accent. So
how do you
when
not? Yeah,
when I
what
saw
is
the
it?
Abridge, you first.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to mention that when you watch the Abridge and you hear Little Kobe doing these weird accents and everything, you're thinking like, oh, he's doing this for humorous stuff on the Abridge version. But no, you see this real thing, and yeah, there's the accent. Like, what the frick?
So in the Spanish dub, they didn't like change the names or anything, right?
They did change the names. They were using the 4Kids dub names, but and the censorship and everything, but
Joey Wheeler.
they didn't do the weird accents because those just don't exist in Spanish.
Anyway, that's probably enough riffing on just like the circumstances of the dubbing, because that doesn't really come up too much in the SPNatI character herself. I don't think he really bothered making any kind of like meta jokes about 4Kids the way Chaz does.
Chaz, yeah.
Juanito Caro? I don't even know what that is.
What's up, Joey Wheeler?
Oh. Caro? I don't think Caro.
I don't think that that's the translation for Wheeler, but it's still
no. Well, it's like it's like Picaro. Like, so when you get like the really like California people, like, when it starts to become like Spanglish, you hear like Micaro a lot, and it's just like, oh my god, guys, come on. So anyway,
Dios mío.
Taya Gardner, though, Horsecat, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll say this much about her model. I really wish we've gotten like the Dark Side of Dimensions design for her, but the anime series design is good as well, I guess. I did mention I feel a little bit off about her current nose, but she's still passable regardless. The model is fine. I can see it getting touched up in the future, but what we have right now is pretty good already. And yeah, by the way she talks in game, you think she's like this duelist that does a lot of duels and is really good. And as I mentioned, she barely duels in the series itself. But the problem is that if you don't lean into that, what do you have with Thea? She cannot be speaking about friendship all the time because none of her friends are there. So I guess with the limited stuff you got over there, I think it's a pretty good job. I can see Thea there.
Also, like, oh my god, you're totally right. The Dark Side of Dimensions like look is hot as fuck. Holy shit. Oh man.
I like
For
it,
me,
but even just adding like that pink jacket that I assume is part of like her school uniform or something probably go a long way.
yeah, I guess like the thing is I'm not really. I think one of the things that I struggle with Taya is I think I think her face art is good. I think the body is like good with Yu-Gi-Oh proportions. I think her nipples look a little weird. Like they're pretty dark, and I know pot and kettle, but like they're a lot darker than you really expect. Yeah, shut up. And then
Milk dud Marinette.
oh god, don't. Again, another Japanese schoolgirl that's shaved is a little off for me. Not to the endless point, but it's good to consider why that's the case. Otherwise, like I don't remember a lot about like Taya as a person. And I also, when I'm like listening to her like in the game, I don't get a whole lot of substance here. I get what he's going for with like there's a lot of good like taglines and things like that. But with as few Yu-Gi-Oh characters as there are, I think maybe generalizing some of what she talks about to target tags as if they were like Yu-Gi-Oh card functions is probably not the worst idea. I don't know.
Yeah, but again, that is kind of the problem on the original series as well. Yeah, Taya
Right.
is there to be like the sidekick girl, but she's not really that much of a character herself.
So how do you like make substance from that, right? Because I don't think that's like
exactly.
I think like some of the other characters who've done that really successfully in the game, it just sort of kind of develop their own angles to things. And I think that would be really great to see. It's just like you can fan on some stuff or just kind of make shit up.
I don't remember. I do have one thing. I don't know. I don't remember if her current dialogue actually leans into it a lot, but on Dark Side of Dimension, I believe also in the series itself, she mentions how much she wants to be a dancer. So maybe mention every now and then how that's her dream and focus a little bit on how she's training for stuff like that. That could be a way to probably vary her dialogue a little bit. Maybe.
That could work. Yeah. That's
maybe if you want to go with a little bit more executive poses, you can hear like, oh, here's this little pose that is part of my dance routine while she's stripping or so. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit too gimmicky, but I don't know. Maybe you can do something with that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Yeah, honestly, I don't really have a whole lot to add there. It's I think I just like don't quite know the direction that she's going yet, and I think having a very clear vision of like why Taya, for instance, that would be good.
My big summarizing note with her was serviceable but unspectacular.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything she does like especially wrong, but yeah, she did have there were a lot of stretches during my game where she was kind of bland and fell into the background. She feels very much like she's like it's like step 1 or like phase 1 of like SPNatI character writing, where it's like you got the basics down, talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, talk about like friendship or whatever, and then but like the references are kind of clunky. They feel a little forced sometimes and not supernatural. And just like her voice isn't totally nailed down yet in terms of like how she would and wouldn't say things. There's a line where she goes like, "What the hell? These cards are awful." It's like I don't know. She seems like a
Cards
relatively
are
polite,
fucking bullshit.
yeah, relatively polite Japanese schoolgirl. I don't know if she'd use the equivalent of "what the hell."
I just thought of another thing that maybe could help with her adding a little bit of more spice. During the series, like the filler arcs, there's like this other side character. Like Tea's implied to have a little bit of a crush on Yugi during the series, and there's this other little side character that also crushes on Yugi, but it's way more obvious about it during the series, and you can see Tea be a little bit more jealous about it. So maybe if you make Thea be interested in someone in the table, and then maybe she can show a little bit more jealousy just to have a little bit more of something going over there as well.
That would be neat. Yeah, because like sexually, yeah, she just kind of did like the typical embarrassed things, like, oh my god, I can't believe she's really doing it, and then she ends up doing it too. Uh, let's see. One thing that I kind of thought of in terms of niche, or that could give her a small niche, is that maybe she didn't talk about Yu-Gi-Oh a whole lot as a card game in general. Which, I mean, I guess if she's not much of a duelist, maybe she wouldn't. But if she's like the sidekick character, then maybe she could do a little bit more where like she kind of introduces the game to other people. She kind of like explains how it works. Because I mean, if she's always talking about it and it's like a big part of her life and her friends' lives, it's not like totally inappropriate to bring it up. And like you could play her and maybe learn a little bit more about the source in that way because she's like helpful.
Imagine your friends are competitive Yu-Gi-Oh players. What does that make you as a person? Anyway.
Were you going to say something, Horsecat?
Well, I was going to mention that while all of her friends, well, Yugi and Joey are both really into the cartoons. Like, she knows the game, but she's not that passionate about it. So she basically knows it because her friends do it all the time. Is what I get out of her from the series.
I just really like the idea of like osmosis absorbing like obscure facts about frame rate, or whatever the equivalent is for cards.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of assume that her role in the story often is like the shonen background sidekick characters where they're sitting on the sidelines and they explain what just happened to the audience.
Pretty much her role. That's pretty much her role all the time.
That's my least favorite trope in any show, but or one of them. But I mean, you could use it to your advantage here because she's got to talk a lot anyway. So I mean,
and that also means that she has been in all of the weird stuff as well in the series. Like, for example, when they get sucked in the later seasons to like a weird memory-based version of Egypt, she could probably talk about that as well. Like, oh, there's real monsters around old Egypt, apparently. That was weird.
I think there's potential there if you take just the shtick of like relatively normal girl who has been in a lot of weird situations and has generally weathered it kind of well, and also knows a lot about a really weird card game with monsters and shit. Like, and they are playing a card game, so you could talk about this other card game that and it's something. I think as a player, I would at least learn more about the source material, and that's something that the other Yu-Gi-Oh characters don't really do currently. So that's my suggestion. Only other things I want to mention is a couple art nitpicks. She's bone dry during the forfeit, and she doesn't move around very much. She has I think she used one pose 6 times in a row, or something. The little pose she has where she holds up a Yu-Gi-Oh card is nice. That's kind of what made me think about her explaining it more. When she closes her eyes, she has a really heavy brow ridge, but it looks a little weird. See what I mean? The lines that you use for the brow ridge. It's very intense. Maybe you could change the setting on that. And say the line, spnanon. Her hair should flip. Does not currently flip, and it should do that. It's not that scary. Just make another model.
Say the line, spnanon.
Just make another model and click the mirror option on all the hair pieces, and it'll be fine. Just do it. It bothers me.
Yeah, that's a reasonable thing to ask of people. I get it.
It is. I do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you also have 20,000 lines on your first character, so I don't know.
I think 20 is cutting it short.
It's probably a lot more than that. Anyway, yeah.
For your information, I'm at 22,000.
Fuck, I was off by 10%. God, shoot me. So, what do you want? So, anything else for Taya, or ready to talk about the star of the show today from our featured guest?
That's right. Our featured guest has been working on many characters. My Little Pony and Puyo Puyo, and I think some others in there. Or is that the only 2 franchises? I mean, you've helped with other stuff. But
I've heard with other stuff. I mean, even more with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge I did, the chess model. But yeah, as for writing, pretty much just the MLP girls and the Puyo Puyo Girls, which the newest one
Yes,
is
but
Arle.
you have hit another home run today because we are going to let you talk all about a character that's kind of similar to Ringo from Puyo Puyo. She even kind of looks like her, but it is Arl Nadia. Is that how you say it?
I believe so. That I don't know if there's a canon version of saying that because they didn't get to talk much on the earlier
Yes.
stuff.
So Ringo Ando's friend Arl Nadia from Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Yep, very much. She is from Puyo Puyo, which actually was then reskinned into Mean Bean, so technically right. And yeah, she is also from the Puyo Girls, but from the Puyo games, but before that, like Puyo Puyo is kind of like a spin-off from a series of dungeon crawler RPGs where she was the main character as well. So she has a little bit more experience with other weird stuff besides the Puyo Puyo things.
Interesting.
So she's basically just a sorcerer apprentice that has been at it for a long, long time. So she knows a little bit more about other stuff, but she also doesn't know much in this regard of romantic stuff and everything, because like the two guys that kind of have a thing with her, three of them. One of them is a deep Satan that has lived for a long, long time and just tries to force himself on her, and she doesn't not like it. The other one's just a guy that accidentally keeps throwing innuendos without meaning to do so. And the other guy is Succubus that just wants to trap her instead. So she hasn't really had.
She has like terrible luck.
Yeah, so the inventory is probably a really good place for her to open up a bit and actually do something with someone she may like over there.
Very cool. So why her? Like, what drove you to pick the character and go through all this work with all these custom poses and all the fun stuff that goes with it?
The most straightforward answer I have to go honestly with is I wanted that franchise made for Ringo.
I gotcha.
Do they make out? Yeah.
The long answer is that I also like her as well. And honestly, the reason she was a little bit scary to write for is because she has a lot of source material, but like 90% of it is like fan translated, and the remaining 10% is not translated at all. So it's like a scavenge hunt all around the internet to try to find what the canon stuff is as well. Because in the earlier games, you have a lot of things that clash with each other canon-wise. So it's a little bit of trying to make a puzzle with stuff that is canon and stuff that is not. So it gets weird with her.
I think some characters work really well when they operate from the position of like everything is canon, in the sense that like you just sort of like, oh, those things conflict. It's just like, that's weird, and then you just move on. Like personally speaking, I quite enjoy that because it's very funny. But
yeah, and I have mentioned that a couple of times. Like, for example, what an original translation of Puyo Puyo that then never came to the US had her name changed to Sylvana for some reason. So I have a throwaway line of hers like saying, "Oh, some people call me Sylvana for a reason. That's weird. Let me just move along."
It's weird, and then that's it. It's good stuff.
That's her stage name.
Indeed.
But yeah, the custom poses. I just wanted to have something for her to, how do you call it in English, to stand out.
Yeah,
a little bit more on her own.
I don't want to discount the effort it takes to make these custom poses, but I do think it's funny. Like we tend to fawn over them, but like for someone who's a more experienced artist, it's just like, whatever.
I just did it, whatever,
No, it's fine. I mean, it is an extra effort, and while I'm pretty glad that you all guys are all enjoying them, it's like the artist curse. Like, for example, this preview picture that you have over here. I know that something is wrong on it, and I'm probably going to end up retouching it later.
Yeah, I'm trying to gain some artistic experience myself in preparation for making similar kind of poses. I mean, yeah, it's not like perfect,
Yeah, but that's
but like I mean,
you're.
it doesn't look like offensively wrong.
Yeah, but you're always trying to make it look as good as you want, and
No, I
you
understand.
know that something is wrong, but you can't quite point out where. So, if anyone has anything on her posting, please do let me know on her channel. Anyone hearing this as well, report about her or anything, and I'll try to get onto it with any of her
This
poses.
this is more of a Kisekae thing, but I think her feet are just kind of small.
Yeah.
Like even compared to like this GIF, this GIF from the source material, like her boots are kind of bigger.
Well,
And
that's another thing. You have to adapt the art style, because if I went for a full Puyo Puyo art style with that, she'd have noodle limbs, giant hands, and giant feet. So
Awaken Mouse from his ancient slumber.
that wouldn't personally bother me, the big hands and feet, but I guess it would bother some people.
I guess I can. If I end up doing like a remake for both Ringo and Arle in the future, I can try to tackle that.
I'm just
It should be possible nowadays.
this like reverse 3/4 poses just bring me such joy because the two things that make I guess the three things that make a butt pose just so much better are looking back and making eye contact and the side boob and showing the butt in a more dynamic angle, because like straight on is the easiest butt angle to make and also the least sexy because the butt's not engaged at all, and this just has all three and it's just fucking mwah.
Fullback also has its merits. A lot of the poses on that regard that I enjoy are full backwards. But yeah, usually having the face looking back, it's also good.
Mm-hmm. You want to know, like, oh yeah, I know you're looking back there. Get a little coquettish. Is there any like where do you want to take her in the future, or what do you want to do with her next?
Well, basically, right now
Besides
I'm just
69?
making sure that her generic stuff is as strong as it can be. Then I'm going to move into more filtered stuff, and of course, I want to have targets. I'm maybe working something already with someone else here for a specific character later on, but
Yeah,
that's for the future.
yeah. It's I think we have some interesting thing planned. It's Horsecat and I.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to make kind of like a thing I did with the MLP girls of having like a conjoined epilogue with her and Ringo in the future as well. I just need to figure out what story I want to tell over there. That may be a thing in the future as well.
Yeah, like honestly, with Ringo and Arle, just having solo epilogues would be great. I think like they're both really solid on their own. Or if you wanted to just like save the work,
Oh, you could, yeah.
you could do both.
It would be nice, but I don't know how would move Ringo's personality to do like a epilogue thing without
Do both
Arle.
of them together. You just do Arle and Ringo together, and have that be one epilogue.
I kind of need to use Arle to push her into that little extra step.
They should make out.
They should make out. You're right. I agree. Yeah, I think I really enjoyed Horsecat. Horsecat. I think he makes some really good stuff in general. The art's always really cute. The dialogue's really well, and also just like writing English is hard. Like it's just I definitely struggle with it a lot less than I did before I started writing for the game. But it's definitely you write really good characters too, which is really awesome. And I have very little quantitative feedback. I think just like you were saying, more filtered lines, which you're doing, and then more targeted lines, which is great. I think some spicy interactions with some of our characters would be fun too. But I'm good just to see where she goes. I'm already really impressed with her. I think she's really cute. I did have actually a question. So at one point in the game when she's like taking off her skirt, she pulls down a little more than she intends to.
Mhm.
What was the idea behind that? Like, why'd you do that? Was it just like it just seemed cool, or?
Well, she does have this little thing where like she kind of shows that she doesn't really care about some stuff sometimes. She's not clumsy, but I kind of wanted to spice up that
Particular
strip
one.
pose a little bit more.
Okay.
And I figure out, yeah, sure, let's do this.
It looks good.
Other than just have like a normal, it's going down. That's it.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. Well, yeah. Honestly, I think I'm looking forward to the continuing interaction between you and I with Arle and Ringo too. And great work. She's a really fun character. I'm really excited to see where she grows.
Yeah, it should be fun.
And I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, learning English isn't hard. Like, I did it pretty easily, and I was learning to walk at the same time.
Yeah, well, we can't all be spnanon. You had to trade you trained so hard at learning English, you lost your hair though. So, the one punch man method doesn't work for all of us.
So Arle got a big chuckle out of me because it took like literally 2 clicks into the game before she threw out a custom pose, and it's like it took that long to dunk on all of us just instantly.
Just be like, hey, what's up, bitch? Fucking step to me.
Yeah. I love them, but it does. The only thing is, like, it's kind of a shame because I don't think the average player would realize.
It's like oh shit, that's super rare.
Like, how come everyone doesn't do that?
Right. Also, I do owe you some Natsuki lines. I haven't forgotten that. I just haven't updated in a while.
She's super cute and fun, and she explained some Puyo mechanics to boot. That's another thing that made me think of Taya explaining Yu-Gi-Oh! All her references felt really natural and like something that would come up. Like, she kind of related back to things in her life, like the people she knows and her friendship with Ringo. So she did a nice job making conversation. And like on top of that, she usually like gave an opinion on what she, on whatever she brought up, which adds a lot instead of just like, hey, this is just like that time. You go, oh, this is just like that time I did this and it fucking blew.
Yeah, I was wondering if I did a good job with that because I did want to be the thing. Like, she didn't just mention what she experienced. I wanted her to have an opinion about the thing. And I'm glad that's going.
One thing I noticed that kept coming up, she seems to have a weird thing with like bras. She doesn't know what a bra is, and she was really surprised that everybody wore one.
Well, she comes from like a medieval fantasy world, and I don't think that was a thing back there. That's basically my whole my whole argument for that. So
no, when were bras invented?
I don't really have any canon basis for that, but I kind of wanted to have something to do for this type of lines. So
it's funny enough. It's just I don't know the real world history of bras.
That's actually really interesting. I completely missed that, but that's really cool.
I'd look it up and go on a big rant on Wikipedia, but we should probably keep things moving.
I mean, I think it's a cool thing because you get to see like the whole like, I don't know, people never seeing a penis before, people never seeing this or this, that, or the other thing that. But this is a first, and it's interesting because it's like just this little like, and then she doesn't wear a bra.
Well,
so
yeah, I always love people that have
what
like,
the fuck is this?
I always love characters that have weird perspectives on things we consider mundane.
Right.
Go figure, right? Based on my choices, but
like, what do you mean you can't read my thoughts? Well, I have to use my mouth like some sort of peasant.
What do you mean? There's a tube between your legs?
What?
Yeah. Obviously, she has a lot of good detailing, even down to like she doesn't just have like a solid color for her panties or whatever. There's lots of little details on that. You don't need me to tell you that. You knew what you were doing.
It's good shit.
And her body's really like perky and tight and fun and good looking, just like Ringo's. Only other thing I wanted to mention was she did like an animated finish for the forfeit, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like the only problem with that is that like the frame it ends on is just like back to the normal like masturbation pose she was doing. I think if you're going to have an animated finish, I think it should end on like a freeze frame of like the actual like the moment of climax. That way, it's sort of you get to kind of have your cake and eat it too. You can kind of stare at it.
I wouldn't know how to actually incorporate that. I am pretty alright with what I have on the finishing post right now. If I'm being honest,
it looks good to me.
I just mean like, I guess like stop it on a frame where like you got some droplets coming off basically. That would be my
All
choice.
these things are matters of opinion for what it's worth, but yeah,
I'll experiment with the concept, see if it works. Can try that.
But overall,
she's great.
Horsecat, he's one of those guys that he's been around forever, and everything he puts out is top quality, and Arle is no exception. So, if either of you have any extra thoughts you want to add before we move on to our final character for the episode?
I do like also that she I do like the level of horniness she has. It feels like good, and she's like a little flirty, but it's not like too OTT or too reserved. It's good stuff.
Yeah, again, her previous relationships aren't exactly the greatest. So.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, that's great stuff. That's Arle. And for our last character,
Horsecat is a guy who's he's been around forever. He's always put out stuff. And we have some other guys who have been around a while, and they made a lot of characters, and they're kind of semi-retired. But you can always count on them to occasionally just come out of the woodwork and be like, bam, new character, out of nowhere. And that's exactly what we got with the return to dev to SPNatI development from Misty Knight, or maybe it's Mystic Knight. Never really knew how to say his name.
Misty. Yeah, it's Misty. Like, out of the fucking void, like, good little thing. Anyway, sorry, keep introing.
The former, I think he was even the server owner on
at one point
Discord.
He was the admin.
At one point, he was part of that lineage. But yeah, the man, the myth, the legend from Down Under, who maker of Remilia and PA-15 and some other characters. He's made Shimakaze, I think was actually his first effort.
Shimakaze
in 2018
was the first one.
From Kantai Collection, which is basically a bunch of like boat girls.
He's only allowed to do one, is Suzuya from anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
You're getting there.
It's like it's like destroyers and aircraft carriers and things turn into moe anthropomorphic girls. Go figure. I've never heard of such a phenomenon.
What? No.
But he did Shimakaze with a cute little Ren Soho-chan and all that. And this is Suzuya also from Kantai Collection.
Like Shimakaze, her clothes do not explode.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a lot more mundane than Shimakaze. I mean, not in a bad way. But Horsecat, what did you think of Suzuya?
Well, I think the first time I tried her a little bit before she was ready, because I did find a couple of default character editor lines throughout her dialogue, but I think that has been fixed by now. I think the model's cute. As you say, she's a lot less extravagant as Shinmakase, however it's pronounced. Her clothes do not explode, but she does have a tendency of removing 2 items at a time.
She's showing off. Yeah.
Showing off. And that is interesting, I guess. I don't really know how much more I can say with her. I honestly have a bit of a hard time trying to target her. I want to target her, but I don't really know what to target with her, because she's, again, there and she's doing the thing, but I'm not really sure what's special over there. Besides, like, showing off here by taking 2 things at a time. And that gets repetitive if that's all I target.
Shimakaze is a lot more overt about being a boat girl, having like weird like personifications or like little mascots of her artillery and things. Suzuya, you could honestly miss the whole thing, the whole fact that she's like a boat. But
I think yeah.
which is ironically that is what I targeted about her with my girls to Suzuya is, oh, you're like a boat. That's weird. But nmasp, I'll let you go.
Yeah, I mean, I always really enjoy it when Mystic God, everyone, I'm fucking up everything today. Mystic Knight, not Misty Cat, although the fusion between Horsecat and Misty would be pretty cool. Fuck me. Anyway, Misty coming out of the woodwork with a character, developing her fully, pretty much complete, spending a couple weeks on her, and then just returning to the void is a phenomenon I very much cherish. I really like her personality. I think her art's really cute. I think the personality is really good. In terms of how she talks about other people and the presence of mind that she has, which is nice. I do run into the Horsecat issue a little bit of how do I target her and interact with her on these things? But I think that's going to come in time. I really like her. I think she's really cute. I think the content she has is great. It's just about, kind of figuring out how do I target her. And I think that's the only thing that I'm missing here, because she's in a school uniform, but she's not a school girl. She's not a robot, but she's a boat girl. It's kind of figuring that stuff out. Anyway, yeah.
There are series premises that can be hard for an outsider to kind of wrap their head around.
Right.
Kantai Collection might be one of them in terms of how much of a boat are they really?
Right.
Because I think they are really just supposed to be the boat.
Is it like a thing in Girls Frontline where they're not supposed to be the boat, but they maybe drive the boat or something like that?
No, I think they are the boat.
They are the boat.
Explicitly,
Literally.
The boat is them. The boat.
Like Shimakaze has weapon systems and things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But for all that, I was Misty always does a good job, and just the character on her own, ignoring the whole boat thing. Yeah, she might just seem like a teasing, flirty schoolgirl, but I think she does an excellent job in that regard. Not every character has to absolutely blow your socks off with doing some weird shit, like Shimakaze literally exploding.
Yeah, she's just good.
Suzuya just does everything right. She's a sort of a fun, stereotypical kind of anime teasing kind of ditzy bimbo, but she's kind of playing it up.
Got the ara.
Or she just likes being sexy and matchmaking and teasing her friends and things. Right, because she does the thing where she's always trying to spice it up and taking off more than one item. She has good awareness about what's going on and the states of undress in terms of using it for teasing. Relatively kind of telling people to look one way or another and trying to hey, Arle's getting her cute little boobies out. Player, you want to take a look at her? Stuff like that. It is kind of easy to miss the whole boat girl thing, but I did like some of the very the casual contrast and juxtaposition that she has on some of her lines. She's filing her nails and acting bored, but she's talking about how we act on a sortie. Using a very a militaristic term like that.
Yeah, what is a sortie, by the way? I don't think she explains it in the game, and as far as I know, sortie is just the exit in French.
A sortie is to attack from a defensive position.
It's a group.
Does she explain it in the dialogue?
No.
Or something like that? Because that would be something to add, I guess, for people that don't know, like me.
It is a term in English, for what it's worth. So it might just be yeah.
Yeah, it's basically you're on the defensive and then you go on the offensive, essentially.
She could explain that though. That's interesting.
That's I know that because that's kind of what Maya and Jura do. Is they're defense. They're acting in a defensive capacity. They wait for their ship to be attacked and then they go out and meet the enemy. So yeah, she should probably try to explain that in some way as naturally as you can, but that's what I mean. Her just casually dropping that, where a word that you wouldn't expect a teasing schoolgirl ditzy kind of type to know, kind of gets your attention. She does this really. She reminded me a lot of Jura in that regard, because she's tall and flirty and kind of vain and likes to put on a show and likes to tease people. But she can also but she has that militaristic side of being in naval combat. But she also can kind of speak childishly. She does something that Kag does, and I've been kind of writing for Jura more because it is a big part of Jura's character, but Suzuya does it as well, and a lot more characters in SPNatI are doing it where she talks in third person. She constantly says, oh, Suzuya is doing this. Suzuya feels this way. Are you looking at Suzuya? Which can be a little off-putting or jarring at first, but you eventually get used to it. She just had like a really fun strip order in general.
Yeah,
she
I
did a fun
like
thing
that
where
about her.
she took her bra off underneath her shirt, and it was just like her shirt over her bare chest for a while. That was fun. I agree. She could use a few more references to being a boat girl and how Kantai Collection works in general, because otherwise you could genuinely miss the whole boat girl thing. Other things I wrote, she could rotate a little bit more for her forfeit poses. She was a little ramrod straight up and down.
To be fair, she has to balance those massive fucking titties.
I think the last thing I wanted to mention was something. It really struck me, just the way her pubic lines, the crotch lines, are curved and constructed. She got a fat pussy.
Yeah, the pussy is pretty fat.
I was trying to make like some kind of wide stern or starboard joke or something like that. She's got a big hanger. It's not coming to me, but someone smarter make that joke. But she's got one hell of a moose knuckle. She's large and in charge down below deck.
Jeez.
Play solitaire. Play the big vagina clip from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
She had a big vagina.
Big vagina. Aside from doing a little bit more with the whole boat girl thing, I really like how Suzuya is shaping up. I don't think you need to be as extreme as Shimakaze is to get the point across. Oh yeah, she's even got the little she's even got the pokies, the little pokey nipples through her shirt. That's something I've been trying to work with.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, look at that.
Good stuff overall, I'd say.
Big old titties. Yeah, big old titties.
Room for improvement, maybe room for expansion, but I like where she is. I think that's going to do it for episode 71, unless either of you have some final thoughts on Suzuya.
She's good. Keep it coming.
Yeah, no, I have no big grievances. She's all right with what we have.
All right.
I'd say overall, across these two previous episodes, some nice quality. Game is always improving.
It is always baffling to me to like look at the stuff that people just make today and compare that to Jesus Christ 5 years ago. And it's like night and day. Like everything is good. Everything has substance. And even stuff that's like, maybe a little on the weaker side, it's not really a reflection of the desire or like even the construction. It's more just like, how do you get this character to do the thing you want it to do? And that's just naturally harder for some characters than others. So it's just phenomenally interesting to see where things are going. And also, thanks for coming on, Horsecat. It's great to have finally had you on. Thank you for all that you've done over the course of the many years you've been in SPNatI. I always enjoy working with you, and thanks for keep making the game great.
Yeah, I really like working on this game as well. And again, back to what you were mentioning, yeah, it's been amazing to see the progress in both the dialogue and art from what it was originally to what we have right now. Really is night and day.
Good stuff.
Even back in the older days, you were putting out some good stuff. I mean, Twilight was always pretty unique.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, she was definitely one of the best early on.
And it was a pleasure to be here in the podcast as well.
Good to have you, man.
I'm glad, man. You're welcome back any time. I'm honestly surprised it took me this long to think to ask you to come on.
To be fair, I'm not that active on the social server, so
I'm not even on the social server, so and here I am. All right, guys. Well, have a great rest of your day. For our loyal listeners, thanks for hanging out with us. And if you liked the episode, go ahead and drop a comment down below or send us a message on Discord, whatever floats your boat. And if that boat happens to be Suzuya, you're in for a especially good time.
All right. Thanks, Horsecat. Thanks, nmasp. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to meet us at our party mansion. Nothing sexual.
SPNatI.party.
Nothing sexual.
Promise.
SPNatI.party. SPNatI.party.mansion.